The more embarrassing headlines surrounding Trump's FBI Director Kash Patel come out, the more of them you see, the more you get the sense that this guy really likes his recreation time. He loves it. I mean, Patel, of course, has faced widespread criticism for his personal use of a government jet, which he has used to make multiple trips to Las Vegas, where he used to live, as well as Nashville, where his country singer girlfriend resides. He's also used an FBI jet to travel to see his girlfriend sing the national anthem at a wrestling event held at Penn State University. So there's that. And for a multi-day excursion to his friend's family's boondoggle ranch, literally the name, in Texas. Yes, again, that's what it's called. Now, those trips were on his personal time. But Patel has reportedly also managed to fit some of his beloved recreational activities into his workday. Back in January, the New York Times spoke to 45 current and former FBI employees for a profile of the department. One senior executive told the paper Patel, quote, doesn't like meetings in office settings. According to this senior official, during a secret conference in Britain of the Critical Intelligence Alliance, known as the Five Eyes, last May, Patel's staff said that he was, quote, unhappy because he wants premier soccer games. He wants to go jet skiing. He'd like a helicopter tour. Now, the FBI did not respond to the Times questions about that trip, but it all seems to fit with a string of escapades Patel has managed to embark on during some of his official trips. I mean, who can forget Patel chugging beers with the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team during a trip to Italy earlier this year, which the FBI and Patel insisted was for professional purposes. Okay. Today, we learned that the FBI director went on a VIP snorkel last summer around the solemn Pearl Harbor Memorial and Military Cemetery, the USS Arizona. Patel was visiting Hawaii last summer during a trip that the FBI took pains to note was definitely not a vacation. And the AP noted in its reporting that snorkeling around the memorial is off limits with few exceptions. And that while other FBI directors have visited Pearl Harbor on official business, as many people have, none, going back to at least 1993, and I'm betting before, have gone snorkeling at the memorial. Former FBI Director James Comey is back with me. His new book, Red Verdict, is out now. Okay, Patel has a mountain of potentially disqualifying scandals, and each time a new one comes out, part of the defense is to throw around numbers that are supposed to show what a great job he's doing. Well, this week we learned from reporting from MS Now, actually, that he has been padding the stats in a variety of ways to make himself look better, including inflating the count of fugitives captured off the FBI's 10 most wanted list by apparently adding people they are about to arrest. Now, this seems unprofessional, it seems immoral, but walk us through the danger of that.
The danger is it strikes at the core of the FBI's integrity, its reputation for being truthful and trustworthy. The FBI is the custodian of the country's crime stats. And if chiefs or citizens come to believe that they're monkeying around with the stats, they've lost it all. And so it's touching something that is indispensable, which is your ability to be trusted.
I want to ask you about another story. Notice published a report this week that the FBI created a so-called payback squad of special agents to handle politically sensitive cases, of course, like yours. A senior FBI official speaking on background denied that a squad was created with that name, but referred to an effort that is officially called the Director's Advisory Team, which they said is a special investigative unit tasked with getting to the bottom of some abuses of power that happened during the previous 3 presidential administrations. What do you make of that?
I hope it's inaccurate. There were no special squads that reported to me when I was director. I'm confident there were none when Chris Wray or Bob Mueller were directors, because, again, the regular order matters when you're going to use the enormous power of the FBI to investigate Americans. And so we do it through particular squads with lines of authority that are clear. We keep track of everything. It's all done in a way that is predictable and reliable because you're using power against potentially innocent people.
But so often in public or on television, the other thing he does is he talks about the morale and the motivation within the department and says it's very high right now. I mean, he uses all sorts of superlatives about it. I know you've said you still talk to people in the department. How would you characterize it?
I'd be surprised if that were accurate, but we can solve this. He can release the climate survey. Every spring, we would produce an anonymous climate survey where every employee was asked, how are things going? How do you feel about the director? I used to read all of those so I would get direct feedback. So it's available. It's knowable to understand what the FBI's feelings are. Last time I saw it released was when Donald Trump was lying, saying the FBI was happy to have me fired. Someone got a FOIA release of the climate surveys. Turned out that was a lie. So we could check this same thing.
Easily checkable, easily he can put that out. There's lots of things people are waiting for from him. There have been only 9 FBI directors, as you know well. 9 is actually the number on the bourbon bottle, which is how maybe people out there who have not served in the FBI learn that in specifically. He's only served a year and a half, but what mark do you think Kash Patel has left to date?
Well, the FBI is suffering. It is, despite what he said, demoralized. It is shorthanded. They have diverted people from critical roles to roles that were much more important to the president, immigration enforcement. If they're screwing around with the crime stats, that's a stain that will take a long time to get past. So it's in a tough spot. The good news is, again, I hate to be the optimist, but I am. The culture in that place is too hard to change in 2 years or 5 years. I tried to change it in 4 years of work with respect to things like diversity and leadership. Very hard even if you know how to change culture, it'll still be there in 2.5 years, and the quality people will hang on, and lots of others will flow back in. So it's bad, but it can be very good in short order.
You're a fiction writer now, and you're also have a lot of expertise in all of this, which is one of the reasons we're talking to you about both of those things. Does it make it harder? I mean, you're writing fiction about a time that almost feels like fiction.
Yeah, if you put some of this in a book, your editor would be, nope.
Yeah.
Let's write something closer to the truth. For me, it's a bit of an escape because I get to write about institutions that I love, show people what they're really like, and tune out a little bit of the world while I write. But then the good news is I get to talk about the book and lots of other things once a year.
Director Comey, thanks for being here with me.
Great to be.
Former FBI Director James Comey is sounding the alarm about what he says is a troubling period for the Federal Bureau of Investigation under President Donald Trump's second administration. Speaking with Jen Psaki, Comey described an agency facing significant internal strain as it adjusts to the leadership of FBI Director Kash Patel. According to Comey, the FBI is suffering, with morale taking a hit as agents and career officials navigate an increasingly political environment. The discussion comes at a time when Patel has become one of the most controversial figures in Washington. A longtime critic of the FBI before becoming its director, Patel has pushed major changes within the Bureau, including personnel shifts, restructuring efforts, and a renewed focus on issues that align closely with the priorities of the Trump administration. Supporters argue these reforms are necessary to restore public trust, while critics say they risk undermining the agency's independence. Comey argued that many FBI employees feel caught in the middle. He suggested that career agents who dedicated decades to public service are now working under conditions that create uncertainty about the Bureau's future direction. Reports of leadership disputes, personnel departures, and controversies surrounding agency management have only added to concerns inside the organization. Yet despite his criticism, Comey emphasized something he believes remains stronger than any individual director: the FBI's institutional culture. He pointed to the thousands of agents, analysts, and support staff who continue showing up every day to investigate crimes, protect national security, and enforce federal law regardless of political pressures. According to Comey, the Bureau's professional traditions have survived previous challenges and may ultimately survive the current moment as well. That resilience, he argued, comes from the people inside the organization rather than from political appointees at the top. While leadership changes can influence priorities and morale, Comey believes the FBI's core mission remains deeply ingrained in its workforce. He expressed confidence that many employees continue to place their oath to the Constitution above partisan politics. The conversation also highlights a broader debate about the role of federal law enforcement in a deeply polarized political climate. Supporters of Patel point to statistics he has cited showing increased arrests of violent offenders, gang members, and child predators under his leadership. They argue these accomplishments demonstrate that the FBI remains focused on its mission and is delivering measurable results. Critics, however, question whether ongoing controversies, high-profile dismissals, and accusations of political retaliation could have long-term consequences for the Bureau's credibility and effectiveness. Some former officials warn that the loss of experienced personnel may weaken institutional knowledge and create challenges for future investigations. For Comey, the central question is not simply who leads the FBI today, but whether the institution can preserve its integrity through periods of intense political pressure. His answer appears to be cautiously optimistic. While he acknowledges what he sees as serious problems under the current leadership, he believes the Bureau's culture, built over generations of public service, remains capable of enduring difficult times. As the Trump administration continues to reshape federal agencies, and as Kash Patel's tenure remains under intense scrutiny, the future of the FBI will likely remain at the center of America's ongoing debate about law enforcement, accountability, and the balance between politics and independent institutions.